Hello dear friends, I'm Marina and in this video I will present you the most important things you need to know about Pisces. This video is part of the series about the 12 zodiac signs, and if you want to check the rest of them, you will find the links below the video. During the video we'll discuss which are the typical qualities, the strengths, the weaknesses, the dark side and the shadow of Pisces, and also their major lessons, how their mind works, what's most typical when it comes to emotions, and also how we can boost this energy within ourselves if we want to express it more. Keep in mind that in the video we'll discuss the pure archetype of Pisces, and you might represent or you might have those energies within you if your sun is in Pisces, or if you have other planets in this sign, or your rising sign is in Pisces. And keep in mind that a person is more complicated than his sun sign. So there is a mixture always, and that's why, again, I repeat, we focus just on the archetype. You may represent part of the qualities and you may use them also on different levels, but that's a topic for another time. So let's begin first of all with the symbol of the sign. The symbol is defined or represented by two fishes, and it's very important. There are different actually interpretations. One of the interpretations is that one of those fishes is dead, the other one is alive, so they are kind of together, and obviously the one which is dead is pulling the one which is alive. And it's a very complicated metaphor and symbol to understand. But even if we don't take this for truth, even if both of the fishes are alive, there are two polarities, there are two tendencies within this sign. One of them, one of the fishes, or one of those polarities is about pulling the person down into the depth of his own soul. It could be related to some kind of depression, addictions, the dark side of life. And the other one is about pulling the person up into spirituality, into a higher understanding, a higher level of consciousness. And those two are kind of fighting with each other, pulling the person into different directions. And for different people, of course, one of the fishes is stronger than the other. That's why we may have a very different picture. There is a very high level of expression of the Pisces energy, and there is also a very low level of expression of this energy. And this sign is also the most complicated one because this is the last one, the 12th sign. And more or less, it includes all of the rest within. So there are different mixtures, there are different inner contradictions which are kind of pulling the person, and it's quite difficult to navigate this energy. Let's begin now with the positive sides, with the positive qualities of this sign. First of all, it brings incredible intuition, incredible creativity, compassion, ability and desire to help other people, to make sacrifices, to be willing to share emotions with others, to be creative, to be artistic. There's also lots of kindness that the sign can bring. Now, on a negative side, or some of the potential weaknesses are lack of desire to take initiative. Pisces are living in their own world because they have a very deep inner world, very intense spiritual experiences or inner experiences, and quite often they are detached from reality. They prefer their own world instead of the brutal material reality, which eventually can make them quite passive when it comes to material stuff or the real world outside. This is one of the challenges for them. The other is that this connection with their inner world, with spirituality, can make them kind of disappointed by the regular life. And this can lead to detachment and also melancholy, sometimes tendency for depression. The most negative side, or one of the most negative, the darkest sides of Pisces is that unfortunately it might lead to some kind of psychological issues, including psychosis and complete detachment from reality. Luckily, this is a very rare, very extreme case, but it's happening again because the person cannot cope with material reality. He prefers the other dimensions, the other worlds. And also his increased sensitivity, this ability to feel, to sense everything which is happening, and not only on a material level, but actually in other dimensions, which it's quite difficult to understand for the regular person. And this connection, this ability to feel other stuff, sometimes can make them feel like, okay, am I okay? Is everything okay with me? Is this right? Why am I feeling this? What's happening? What's happening is that Pisces people can feel other people's emotions. Their mood, the atmosphere, their pain as well, the negative emotions and everything, which makes them very sensitive, very fragile, and also quite affected by other people. The environment is very important for a Pisces person. Another shadow or part of their shadow can be also laziness. Desire to escape from responsibilities, from everything material, everything which can lead to disappointment. And also, in some cases, this may turn into lying. Lying, cheating, misleading others. Again, this is an extreme case. Not every Pisces person is doing that. But sometimes they can mix what's real, what's not real, what's right and not right. And sometimes they may just try to escape the obligations. So by trying to do things in an easier way, just with less resistance, for some of them it may mean lying and doing things in the wrong way. Now, let's go back to the positive stuff, because I feel like we shared many negatives, but the positives, in my opinion, are more. And I will admit that this is just probably my favorite sign, definitely one of my favorites for sure. And I see so much potential in this sign. They can be on such a high level. They can be spiritual teachers, they can be healers, their intuition is incredible. In art, they can be amazing photographers, visual art, music, painting, so many areas. They're just more capable of sensing this energy, this inspiration, which comes from somewhere else, somewhere beyond the material reality. And that's why many genius people, intelligent people, many creative geniuses, they have the Pisces energy within them, because it allows them to connect to another dimensions. The famous psychologist Carl Jung has created this term collective subconsciousness. Basically, this is something like the soul of the whole earth. And we as human beings has access to that. From there, we connect to archetypes, to cultural symbols, to other things that are mutual for all of us. And this collective subconsciousness is represented by the sign Pisces and the ruler Neptune. So Pisces people with the strong Pisces energy, they have easier access to this subconscious collective subconscious level of energy, whatever you want to call it. And this is not always easy. It sounds like it's great, but for a regular human being, it's not always easy. It might get like too much burden or too much confusion, lack of understanding. So it's not easy for the person, and at the same time, it can bring incredible potential. As I said, when it comes to art and creativity, when it comes to healing, helping other people, making a sacrifice, just doing something nice for other people. So again, if you haven't understood so far, I love the Pisces energy. Now let's talk about emotions. So emotionally, Pisces people are very sensitive, vulnerable, they're very kind, they can be very compassionate. But here is another shadow, going back to the shadow. Another part of the shadow for Pisces is their tendency for victimization. To feel sorry for themselves, to feel like they're a victim, that other people take advantage of them. This is a very old archetypical energy which has been there for ages for all of us, and it just means that the person is kind of trying to project the responsibility to someone else. He's trying to be, you know, like, I'm the good one and others are taking advantage of me. It's a very deep psychological theme. We won't get into details, but just keep in mind there is a tendency for Pisces people to be both the victim but also the one who will save people. So it's kind of, you know, like making the sacrifice and doing nice for others. So when it comes to emotions, again, back to our topic, when it comes to emotions, the Pisces person may feel like a victim very often in relationships, or because other people are just tougher. They are more confident, or they're more strict, or sometimes they're more cruel. So he feels like, okay, I'm so fragile and others are taking advantage of me. So emotionally things are very deep for him, but also, as I said, there is a tendency to feel sorry for themselves. In relationships, this can be a person who completely sacrifices himself. He's trying to do the best for the people he loves. But here's another thing. In some cases, they may not have enough focus, which may lead to confusion. Again, who do I really love? Is it possible that I love the whole humanity, or I love two men at the same time, or I'm not sure who I really love? Sometimes it happens with Pisces people. We don't say it's always the case, but this might happen. Because of this general connection with humanity, or with the internal subconscious, whatever you want to call it, sometimes it might be difficult for them to make the difference between people. There are no boundaries, there are no clear restrictions, which in emotions or in relationships can make it difficult for them to focus on one particular person. And of course, there is always idealization, or trying to do the best for their partner, even if the partner is taking advantage. As we said, they tend to be the victim in many situations. When it comes to mind, how does the Pisces person think? First of all, he is not logical. He is much more creative. He has incredible imagination, and those are one of the greatest gifts for this sign. He might get confused. He doesn't recognize so much the details. He can forget. He might be all over the place. There is lack of organization, but at the same time, he can be extremely creative. He may have incredible vision, imagination, photographic memory as well, which of course helps a lot when it comes to creativity. Okay, and now let's talk about which are the ways in which we can increase this energy if we want to. The first advice I have for you is to focus more on your internal experiences, your emotions, your feelings, and to trust your intuition. There are exercises which you can do. They don't necessarily take a lot of time, but they have to be done regularly, by which you can increase your intuition. This is some of the greatest gifts of Pisces. Another thing is to be more compassionate and to be willing to help other people, and even make some kind of sacrifices. Help people in need, or the people you love, or children, whatever you feel connected to. But this really increases the connection with the Pisces energy. Then the other thing you can do is, of course, creativity. Whatever you want to choose. It could be painting, it could be crafts, it could be music. Music is one of the favorite things for Pisces. They are able to feel it in another way that for regular people it's just not so clear. So listen to your favorite music, pay attention to it, try to feel it, not just to listen with the ears, but to listen with the heart. And the last suggestion I would have for you is to focus on spirituality. Pisces people can be very spiritual, they value this connection, they sense things, so focus on that. Meditation, spiritual practices. Luckily nowadays we have so much access, so many free stuff as well. Try them. So that was the most important. I hope you have understood this sign. You may share your thoughts as well. I would love to hear them in the comments. And if you want to check more astrology stuff or other articles, you can go to marsstars.net. If you're willing to learn astrology with us, you can sign up for Mars Stars Astrology Academy, and we'll let you know when the enrollment is open. Links are below the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.